are joining us for the first time, my name is Cristina Gregorio, and I work with One Future Coachella Valley. I have been with our program for about 9 years, but I've been in higher ed for over 20 years. And like many of you, I grew up in the Coachella Valley, went to Indio High School, then went on to the University of San Diego, and worked there for a bit before making my way back to the Valley. And so I very proudly work with One Future right now. And one of our big efforts is obviously supporting students through college. So we have a great team that does that every day, day in, day out. It has changed the way that we do business. As you know, we're doing a lot of virtual talks now. So I wanted to take a moment first before we even begin to introduce our team to you. Today I have our co-host, Luisa Rojas, who will be co-hosting this webinar with me. Luis, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Cristina. As Cristina mentioned, I'm Luisa Rojas. I grew up in the Coachella Valley as Cristina as well. I graduated from Coachella Valley Unified School District as part of the district, but also from the high school, Coachella Valley High. After I graduated from Coachella High, I decided to attend college at Desert, transferred out to California State University, San Bernardino, and earned a bachelor's degree in psychology. I'm currently working at One Future Coachella Valley. Currently going up to my 4th year working with them. So it's an honor to be working with my colleagues, and also serving our local community students in the community.
Thank you, Luis. And just a quick shout out to the rest of our team who's joining us and who will be doing different things throughout the webinar, like managing questions or, doing polls with us. I want to highlight Ernie Rios, who has led our efforts. And I also want to bring attention to Fatima, who's right now doing the chat for us. And I want to introduce Eloisa, who's doing our social media. And then I also want to introduce Ricardo, who's going to be doing our polling and our questions. So there's a big team that's helping you guys and is wanting to support you. So we encourage a lot of engagement. I think we learn when we ask questions, and so we invite you to do that. So just a quick brief on One Future, just to reinforce it. We're here, we help students prepare for college, career, and life, and we provide not only scholarships, but we also provide services such as academic advising, counseling. We work very closely with the K through 12 and higher ed partners to ensure that you as Coachella Valley students have all the resources and financial aid you need to be successful at the next level. This particular webinar is very important for us, and it obviously is very important to you because you're going to be assessing the cost of the institutions that you're considering. You're also going to be analyzing the financial aid award letter that has been given to you by the universities that hopefully have already admitted you. And you're also going to learn that if there's a gap, whether it's this small or this big, that there's an appeals process that you can do. And so we want it to be engaging, and we want you to walk out with more information and more understanding. And so I wanted to give you a snapshot of what to expect. But we also wanted to share some guidelines, and to do those, we wanted to bring in Luis to share some webinar guidelines as we are learning with you as well.
Thank you, Cristina. So I'll go over the guidelines today for our webinar. I do encourage all students and all attendees to be courteous and respectful for all questions that are being posted and comments that are being posted during our session today. Also, this is a friendly environment which we encourage questions to be asked. There's always a misconception that asking a question makes you look weak, but it's actually makes you a stronger person because you're asking a question and asking that question that you need to be answered to. Participation, we also want you to participate on this webinar as well as this session as well, to really ask questions. If you have any questions regarding the topics we're going over today, we just really want you to ask that question because we are here to support you along the way. As Cristina mentioned, we're serving our students here in the community, but also we want to know what currently do you need help with, so we just want to know how can we help you, how can we support you as an organization, and also please we require you to participate. Next, we also do encourage you to also follow our social media. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn account as well. Also, we're also having a raffle, so please stay tuned. At the end of this session, we'll be posting the rules of entering this raffle and how can you win a raffle, some prizes by being part of this webinar.
Thank you, Luis. And anytime I hear raffle, I think excitement. So please, please, please join in. Raffles are awesome. And so yes, follow us on social media for sure, because we're always sharing really great information. Eloisa updates that all the time. And so, but now moving on to some of the important items that we talked about that would be a part of the agenda. Luis, can you tell us a little bit about how a student can look at the cost of attendance for the institutions that they've been admitted to and are considering for this upcoming fall?
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Christina. So one of the best ways to looking at the cost of attendance, most likely students are getting this on behalf of the institution as part of their financial aid package. Some college and universities provide the cost of attendance on their financial aid packages by breaking it down into categories. And just depending on what the student's living situation is, depending on whether they're living at home or living in dorms or living off campus, the college and university starts putting these students into buckets of cost of attendance. So as you can see on the screen, the cost of attendance from living with your relatives or parents at home is at $18,000 compared to students that are living in dorms, which is compared to $22,000. As you can see along the way, it's increasing, and due to the fact that your room and board is increasing. As you can see in the screen, room and board changes along the way. The tuition and cost stays the same because the school is charging you the same because you're registering for classes, and that's one of the ways university and college, which college and universities consider your cost of attendance depending on your living situation. On your screen as well, you can see.
So sorry, Luis, I clicked. Go ahead. Didn't want to rush you. Go ahead.
No worries. Thank you, Christina. As you can see on your screen, we wanted to provide you with an overview of what the cost of attendance. As you saw previously, you saw the tuition and fees, room and board, but we just wanted to provide you with an overview and a visual to see what the cost of attendance really is, provide you with an overview, and really start making you think about looking at resources and tools that can really help you out with the cost of attendance, comparing your cost of attendance with your financial aid packages, and really gauging how much need you have. And I know, Christina, when you work with students along the way, you help them out looking for resources and tools in the community. So can you talk about a little about that, about those resources in the community or that you share with students?
Yes, thank you, Luis. Yes, I think when you're looking at the cost of attendance, there's tools that can also map it out for you. So, you know, it just depends on how you want to visually see it. Do you want to manually write it? Universities provide tools for you too on mapping out the cost of attendance, but there's two tools that I really like. And one is our personal one future Coachella Valley. I'm not biased, I promise. But this particular site, the C2 Navigator, is a really cool site because one, you can apply for scholarships. And let me put a plug in. Our scholarship closes this Friday, April 24th. So you still have time to apply. And those scholarships are up to $5,000 a year. So I would encourage you to visit and create a profile anyway. Because our scholarship is still open. So I'm just putting a plug in there for you. But the C2 Navigator system also provides you with the opportunity to compare packages. So for instance, in this case, we have someone that might be interested in Cal State San Bernardino or College of the Desert. What you can do in the system is you can plug in everything that those two institutions have offered you. And then what it will do, it will tell you where your gaps are or if you have a very generous award. So am I missing money or do I have more than enough money? And so this is what we call a local resource. And this is very customized to the Coachella Valley, which I think is very important because this is catered to you as a student who is graduating from the Coachella Valley. The other tool that I really like to share with students is College Board. This particular tool is a national one, and it is free. If you may have already heard about it from your counselors, but this not only highlights college planning, scholarships, you name it, anything about college, it has it there. But it also has an area where you can plan or figure out what each institution will cost you, and which one is being more generous and which one is not so generous. And so it helps you make that determination. These are two excellent tools to consider. And so at this point, I want to pause a little bit in case we have some questions thus far. And I want to invite Ricardo to join us if he's got any questions so far, Ricardo.
Thank you, Cristina. At this moment, we don't have any questions, but I want to ask the audience a simple question.
Awesome.
What percentage of full-time undergraduate students receive financial aid? Let's see what they answer. I'll give you guys around 30 seconds for you to answer.
Very cool. We see some activity. We see 5 out of 25. Oh, quick people. Wow. You guys are faster than I am. Awesome. Very cool. So I think we've got 22 out of 25, Ricardo. What are the results?
So the popular answer was 66%, which in fact it is the correct answer. Almost 2/3 of the students full-time undergrad receive some kind of financial aid. Thank you, Cristina. We could move on with the presentation.
Thank you so much for that really cool fun fact, and we'll sprinkle those on as we go. So at this stage, we're moving on to the second topic of our webinar, which is your financial aid award letter. And this is what every institution that you applied to this past fall is going to be offering you when they admit you, or they're going to be sharing this with you. And what it is, they're telling you how much financial aid they're giving you. And financial aid is defined by Cal grants. So if you see here, you've got university grants, you've got Pell grants, everything that you filled out on the FAFSA or the DREAM application will be listed here. This is the part of free money. And we're going to show you a few slides to reinforce free money, because in our book, free money is awesome. I think anything free is great. So this is your free money. If you go a little bit below, you're going to see the area that has federal work study. This is where you get to work for your money. And we'll explain a little bit more about that in the next slide. And then you've got loans. But we wanted to give you kind of a review of what a financial aid letter looks like. And many of you probably have already seen it, and what they will include in it. And so as we move through it, this particular one, we kind of made it into a pie so that you could see this particular student got a Cal grant, they got a university grant, they got a U-SHIP grant, and a Pell grant. That's what this pie, this portion of it, is free money. Then they got federal work study, which is an awesome program, and I'll tell you about it, where they have to work for it. But then you'll see a big slice is also loans. And so this is a danger zone for us, because yes, loans are awesome. Well, let me rephrase that. Loans are important when you need to fill in a gap. But if you do some planning, you may be able to reduce this amount, which is what we want to encourage you to do. And so free money, again, reinforcing federal Pell grant, California grant, federal work study that you have to work for. So just really reinforcing what's considered free money that you will never have to pay back. This is money that you've been awarded and that the university is basically gifting you. So no worries after you graduate. Federal work study is a really great program that I share with students, that if you're offered it, take it. I, for example, have a personal experience that when I went to the University of San Diego, I was offered this opportunity, and I started as a federal work study, worked my way to a tutor, then became the administrative assistant, kept working my way, and I left that university as a director of the Educational Opportunity Program. So A, it provided financial assistance to me while I was in college, and B, it also gave me the opportunity to professionally develop myself for the next phase of my career. And so as we're moving forward, keep some questions, or keep your questions coming, because we want to make sure we get to you. And now the next portion of your financial aid award letter is your state aid, or a piece of it. This is your Cal grant. This is the state of California. Every time you apply to FAFSA or the California DREAM application, you're provided with a Cal grant. And the amount that the Cal grant will be is determined whether you're attending a community college, a UC, a CSU, or private. please note that if you are attending an out-of-state institution, you cannot take this money with you. So it's almost like you left money on the table. 2 or 3 things that I want to remind you about this is that you do your FAFSA, you do your DREAM application, but you must confirm your graduation, and you must confirm your institution that you're attending. Many times I've seen students that actually don't confirm their graduation and don't confirm the institution that they're attending, and that means that they're not accessing this free money, and you're leaving money on the table. And so the other piece that you'll see, and I want to bring Luis to this, is university scholarships and private scholarships. Luis was one of our students and received our scholarship several times. So I thought he was best fit to share share some best practices on this.
That is correct, Christina. So I was fortunate enough to get the One Future Coachella Valley Scholarship for at least 3 years, which the awarded amount was close to $13,000 when I attended my college at Desert and also California State University, San Bernardino. And you're asking yourself the question, where can I apply to these university scholarships or college scholarships that are offered through my university or college? The simple question would be looking at your college or university's website and looking for scholarships. Sometimes the Office of Financial Aid has a section specifically for scholarships. In most cases, college or universities would use your FAFSA application or your DREAM applications when you're for the first time applying for that college or university. And also please keep in mind that that's not the only way that you're qualified to get a scholarships. College and universities also within their same website offer private scholarships that private donors or there's a specific scholarship fund that it's created within the university that requires an application, requires you to upload a recommendation, requires you to upload an essay. So that's the time, you got to really start looking at your college and university scholarships, because there's tons of money that it's offered. A lot of resources that are offered to you through your university by the way of scholarships, and the most scholarships you can apply to, it's better. I know Christina also talks about scholarships that this is the only time you're going to get paid to do. This is the only time you're going to get paid to go to college because you're actually applying for scholarships. And we really encourage every single one of you to apply to as many scholarships year round. There's a lot of scholarship providers out in the community as well as nationally that can provide scholarships to you and help you attain your college degree.
Yes, and I brought up the loans one because the alternative is, if you don't apply to as many scholarships as possible, is that if you have a gap, your options will be to consider a loan or paying out of pocket. And I know, Luis, that you also had some information to share about the loans and what to consider.
Correct, Christina. So on your screen, you can see loans are money that have to be paid back. Those are university loans that are being offered through a way of your financial package, but also are loans that are part of the federal government that are offering students loans. For example, the 2 main loans you would most likely see in your financial aid award letter when you received it would be a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan. You might ask this question: what is the difference between 2 of those? So the difference between 2 of those, for example, subsidized loan is based on need. This is a loan that the subsidized loan is a loan that is the interest is being paid off by the U.S. Department of Ed. So which is the federal government paying for the loan, but you're also responsible to still pay that loan back. Any amount you owe that you're responsible to pay it for. Also, the unsubsidized loan is a loan as well from the federal government, from the U.S. Department of Ed. It's not based on need, and you're responsible to pay the interest rate on that loan. So I know, Christina, we talked about loans. Can you please talk about your experience of if you took out loans or any of your students that you work with? When you talk about loans, what do you recommend and what are your recommendations?
Yes, thank you, Luis. So yes, I normally tell students to, after they've looked at the cost of attendance and they've looked at their financial aid award, to look at the slice that they're missing. And sometimes you might be offered the $5,000 loan, and you may not need all of it. You may need $1,000. And if so, maybe that should be your incentive to apply for more scholarships. If times run out, then you don't always, if you're offered $5,000, you don't always have to take that amount. But one of the things that I do stress to students is being proactive. prepared is going to keep you out of this danger zone. Because I, for one, was kind of like this baby. I did take out some loans. I took out some university loans that were 0 interest and some Stafford ones. And, you know, I felt like this when I had to pay them back. So if you can avoid doing that, I would highly encourage you to do that now. So thank you, Luis, for that. And at this moment, we're going to pause for about 30 seconds to take some questions. Ricardo, do we have any questions from the audience?
Thank you, Cristina. We currently don't have any questions, but I encourage our participants to ask any questions you guys have so we could answer. At this moment, I'll be asking you guys a second question. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds to answer the following question. What % of students don't attend their first choice college due to the cost of attendance?
Interesting. So we've got 8 out of the 27. Wow, this is going fast. Very cool. Oops, I ended, sorry. So I think you closed it now, right?
Yes. So the popular vote was 57%, but in fact, that's 33%. 33% of the students who select their first choice college don't go because the cost of attendance is too high. Thank you, Cristina. We can move forward.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing this fun fact and important information, Ricardo. And so moving on to the next portion and the last portion of our webinar, we have probably about 7 minutes to go, and we want to respect your time. So we've got a few more minutes with you to share if after you've looked at the cost of attendance, you looked at your FAFSA and your award letter, and if you see that there's, you know, a gap, whether it's this small or this big, there is a possibility that you can negotiate it. It's one of the maybe best kept secrets, or that people don't know too much about, and that's that every one of you has the ability to ask a university to reevaluate your financial aid package. And you might ask, oh, how so? Well, some universities have an actual application on their website where you fill it out. Other universities require you to do a letter, like the example that I'm putting up on the screen right now. What we encourage students to do is, one, be very nice, be honest, and make sure that it's concise. You know, you want to make sure that when you're writing to them or you're filling it out, that you provide as much information that you can, whether it's a job loss, a medical issue, something may have changed, or maybe they didn't look at your gifts and talents that you think you're bringing to their university and that you deserve maybe more of a merit scholarship. I, for instance, had one student yesterday who was missing had a gap. She transferred to CSU Fullerton, and she had a financial gap. And what I encouraged her to do was appeal it. And she did. And it took her an hour. We talked yesterday. She ended up getting $1,000 more. The university reevaluated her. She got additional funding and she was very happy. And I told her, well, I don't get paid $1,000, but kudos to you because you just got paid. So that is an option that is available to you and that we encourage you to exercise if you have a gap, because it's gonna allow you to get additional funding and resources that you may have not gotten if you didn't do the appeals. And so technical issues here. Moving forward, I know that there's additional resources, Luis, also that students can access on campus that can reduce the cost of attending college, right?
That is correct, Christina. So as you can see, university resources, when we talk about university resources, we talk about utilizing and getting acquainted with your college or university's website. For example, the University of UC Berkeley or UCR or any college has a section where they have what are the questions that are being asked the most to the college or universities. So in that section, you can find anything from how would I receive my financial aid? How would I set up direct deposit to get my financial aid directly to my banking account? And also within the college and university's website, there's additional resources and programs such as the EOP program, which is the Education Opportunity Program that students can apply to, and in some cases even receive a voucher for books TRIO is also another program that most universities and college have. Another resources is really looking at the software section of your college and university. In that section, you can also find a lot of Microsoft, for example, for free. A lot of the softwares you need as students, it's actually free for you. You don't have to necessarily go out to Best Buy or Walmart or Office Depot and go buy these softwares when essentially you're paying already for it, because when you're paying your fees, your tuition, those are the type of services and software that come included by you attending that college and university. And I know, Cristina, you might have other resources that you might want to share, but if you can please share any resources that you know about that I missed, but that would be that'll be awesome.
Yes, thank you. You know, the other thing that I tell our students, and, you know, that I've learned throughout my years, is that a lot of the times your tuition includes, as Luis mentioned, a lot of resources that sometimes students don't access, like the healthcare or, you know, software discounts. One of the things that I also tell students to consider is that if you have a medical coverage with your family, you can opt out of that portion from the university. So that's a big cost savings, especially in UC institutions. Every institution will require you to have healthcare, but if you have or you carry it on your own with your family, you can eliminate cost in that manner. So it's really dissecting these resources that are here and putting that pie together that you know, personally fits you the best. I think that that's the thing that I like to encourage students, is that this is your financial commitment. So you should look for everything that's free, and then you should consider what every school is giving you as you make, you know, those financial decisions moving forward. And so at this particular moment, I want to take another moment. This is we're almost at the end, so thank you for staying with us. The final questions and comments, and then we have a few announcements that we are going to be giving you guys. And then we're also going to stay on for about 15 minutes just to have a general discussion and answer maybe some questions that you guys still had. So if we can take on some questions, Ricardo.
Thank you, Cristina. Yes, we do have a question. Do all loans have interest?
Excellent question. So for some universities, I know I worked at USD and I attended USD. They had what they called at the time, it was a trust loan, which was a zero interest loan. And that to me was one of the best ones that I could take, because literally if I borrowed, you know, $1,000 would be what I had to pay back. That would be a really good question to ask your Office of Financial Aid. And as a student, you should also be asking them, you know, what kinds of loans and how much interest, and does the interest, you know, start to accrue immediately? So yes, some universities have it, but it's really up to you to contact the Office of Financial Aid to see. And they also probably have limitations on how many students they offer it to. So sooner is better than later. Don't wait.
Thank you, Cristina. Another question that we have is, should you accept the Parent Plus loans?
So that is a really interesting question. And I tell students, I never like to tell students what to do. However, I do like to caution the Parent Plus loan a little bit more, because it is a loan that obviously you have to pay back. It is a loan that your parents are going to be responsible for. And it has normally a higher interest. And if you're being offered loans your first year, then maybe the expectation is that you're going to be offered loans every year after that. So although I know some families choose to do it because, you know, that this is their family dream or family commitment, I would really caution you on the Parent Plus loan. And I would also say to read all the fine print, because some of the other loans, as for example, the subsidized, unsubsidized, there's public service loan forgiveness programs where if you work as a teacher, if you work for a nonprofit, those loans can be forgiven. I think in the last few years, they've done some things with a Parent Plus loan, but I'm not an expert in it. But I would definitely encourage you to look at the interest and look at the financial commitment that your parents will not only have to do for you, but if you have other siblings, may have to do that for them. And so what does that mean for their financial situation in the future?
Thank you, Cristina. Another question that we have is, if I attend to Edge Pledge at COD and get the scholarship, how would this benefit me?
Luis, do you want to answer that? I know you're a COD graduate.
Yes, I wasn't part of the Edge program. I know Edge offers some type of services to the students during the summer, whether it's math or English courses. But if you're part of our program for the One Future Coachella Valley Scholarship Program, you get support services such as counseling 101, Cristina. You get a student leadership conference. You get a mid-year mixer, and throughout the year, you have you have connection with our counselor 101 throughout the year. So we require students as part of our program to stay connected, to be part of meetings as well, 3 meetings, also be very active with our program. So that's one of the benefits. So Cristina is always in charge of always, amazing person that it makes sure that the student gets a detailed counseling 101 session where she goes over the financial aid package, really starts assessing the students' needs, connecting with them additional resources. So our scholarship is not just any scholarship where we give you the scholarship and we say later students will see you next year. This is an actual scholarship, but it's here to support you along the way, providing the service that I mentioned before. And along with Cristina, we make sure that our students are taken care of, because we care about every single student that comes through our program, and any student that is not part of our program, we're able to guide them through the process, help them out with their financial aid, really look into details that are missing. They're missing, for example, maybe they be eligible for a Cal Grant. That's something that students might miss out. That's really important they receive that aid because that's free money they're missing out on. So as part of the program, you get those benefits and that support services as being part of the program, and also you're eligible to reapply every single year to our scholarship. But unfortunately, we cannot guarantee you a scholarship. But we encourage students to be part of our program so they can receive our support services that Cristina and One Future Coachella Valley has to offer for the students.
Yes, and just to, because I know I want to be conscious of time, just to echo Luisa's sentiments on the previous slide, we had the contact, our information. I'm very pro-student, and so is Luis and all of our team, but this is a way that you can reach us as well. But I want to move us on and then and welcome you to stay on a little bit longer. But before we lose you, those people who can only be on for 30 minutes, I want to encourage you guys to join us for the next few webinars. Next week, we're going to have an awesome Coachella Valley panel that's going to be discussing how they made their decision on attending the institution they selected. And that'll be a half-hour conversation as well. And here is the schedule. Take note of it. It's on social media. I also wanted to encourage you all to continue to follow us on social media, to post, comment.